You're listening to the Game Tenants Podcast.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to the Game Tenants Podcast, the failed adventures of two gamers and their quest for Gamecast stardom. This is episode 46, and I'm Church of the Game Grinder, and as always, joined by my awesome co-host,
Jason, a Corpse Flood Gaming. How's it going, guys?
Yes, and as you notice, we don't have the name bars this time because I couldn't get it to load, and I figure probably don't need those if it's just the two of us.
It's budget. It's lo-fi.
We're cutting the budget back. We decided we were going too big with the last one.
Well, the YouTube monetization thing is really affecting us, so we can't afford it.
Yeah, we gotta make cutbacks in the production quality.
Sorry, guys. You got any complaints? Send them directly to YouTube. It's their fault.
So then, as per usual, we'll jump immediately into some community comments real quick. For any new listeners, leave us a comment on the video and we will possibly cover it next time just to get a little back and forth conversation going.
Yeah, we like to get some community feeling in the podcast.
Yeah, it's more of a conversation than just us talking to each other. So with that said, Black Metal Gamer left us some comments. I was talking about Titanfall 2. Which I'll talk about a little bit more, but he says Titanfall 2 is the best shooter of 2016. Old Blood is fantastic. Wolfenstein Old Blood. And then he said the new Colossus is trash. Looks pretty, but gameplay is repetitive with repetitive level structure and off-the-wall story.
I heard it just gets a little too wacky on the second act there, like the second half, but I have yet to see it for myself too. So.
Yeah, and I'll find out pretty soon here. I'm after I finish what I'm playing now, that's what I'm gonna be playing next.
Yeah, do it.
And then he also says
do it.
He works graveyard shifts with the luxury of earbuds on all night, so please chat away as long as you can. And we were talking about trying to podcast a little shorter.
Big supporter of us going way too long every time we say it. We keep it to an hour 15 and we do like 2:15.
Yeah, right. That's how it usually goes. So yeah, as always, we appreciate you listening. And then I talked about, I don't remember exactly how we got onto the topic, but a radio contest where they challenged people to drink like gallons of water as fast as they could, and somebody died. And Musty Hobbit of Second Breakfast says I was right about the radio contest. It was called "Hold Your Wii for a Wii." And the actual radio audio borders on disturbing, and yeah, somebody actually like died chugging water to win a Wii because you can't drink that much water. If people didn't know that,
must have been when it was new, because does the guy not have like $20? It's just the most senseless death now that you think of it.
Yeah,
it's the cheapest system to get a hold
of. Pretty crazy shit. And then he also commented and said he's read into the enhancements on the gamer score, and it feels like an extension of what's going on now. Achievements will still happen, but they'll issue quests, get an achievement in X number of games before next Monday, etc., that get you an extra badge or something like that. I think how forums give you title based on how active you are. If anything, it's a new thing to brag about, and if they tie it to unlockable digital items, themes, user icons, avatar, or swag, not going to complain.
Yeah, definitely. If it's not just like an impossible feat without just playing that game nonstop, I'm totally for it too. But if it kind of just makes it seem like, oh, so in order to like complete this game, I gotta play nothing but this game. Whereas like back when I could play a lot, I was knocking out completing games like left and right. I play game, and my wife would be like, "Oh, what happened to that game?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I beat it like 2 days ago." Didn't you just get it like 3 days ago? Yeah. I'm onto this game now. So
Yeah.
I think she likes that I don't get to play as much now, because then I get to be like, it's like a longer that I'm playing a game now, not just like, oh yeah, I started that game. And, oh, whatever happened to that game? Oh, you went to sleep and I didn't, so it's done. So yeah, I just used to be like my goal, like, oh, I'm not going to sleep till I conquer this, and then if I liked the game or if it was a short game, I'd usually punish it pretty quickly.
Right.
I mean, it's good to have a middle ground there. I like the games that take a bit longer, and I don't necessarily try to complete every game for gamer score or trophies, but like I said, if you like a game, it's kind of a cool incentive to try and feel like you've completely conquered it.
Totally. For sure. Then we got a comment from BioPhoenix. He says, Bloodborne is amazing stuff. I talked about going pretty hard and beating it in 2 weeks. And he says he's still stuck on the final boss, but he might just make a new character and refight all the bosses he already did, and he'll mess with a different build. And I replied to him about how I also was struggling on the final boss, and then I realized that you can actually summon help. So once I got some help, we got it the first time, basically. Like,
but even though you tried before, you still pulled like a Lego Batman where like, first try.
Well, and and that's the thing too. It's like I'll watch. I've seen videos of people playing Bloodborne, Dark Souls, and stuff like that, and they'll be like, "Oh, this boss fight," and when you watch the video of the boss fight, it'll just be like them beating the boss. So is that like them kind of being like, I can do it on my own? Like, I almost wonder, do people like look down if you summon help? That's like a mechanic of the game. Like, I assumed people always did that, unless you're really like, I want to do this on my own, which, given
On
enough
your own-
time.
On your own's a
definitely
bragging right too, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But
Use
it
it.
is.
It's there. Use it if you want.
A W is a W. Is
Yeah.
that how it goes? But yeah.
Sure, if you just made that up.
Well,
Yeah.
win is a win.
Yeah. If you're still alive, you won.
Yeah.
So
Then we got another comment from Black Metal Gamer. He says next iteration of the Switch should look sleek and sexy like a Vita that you can dock. As a matter of fact, Wii U tablet should have resembled a Vita IMO, in his opinion.
two.
Yeah. I'd imagine that's probably every time they re-release something, they try to, slim it down and make it,
Right, because we're talking about a Switch Mini. I think Smash
Yeah.
JT mentioned it in one of his videos.
Yep.
But yeah. Speaking of like the Switch, I hope they don't have another radio contest like hold your shitch to win a Switch.
Yeah, that's probably not good. You get a
Yeah,
little,
I hope they don't do that. That sounds a lot more gross too.
yeah, because being blocked up's not a good thing.
See people eating logs of cheese. Okay, so moving on.
Yeah, so with that said, thanks again for the comments, and of course, if you have any comments, any of the topics we're covering, you want us to talk about something, just hit us up. We will probably talk. So then what have you been up to? What have you been playing? You've been gaming a whole lot, haven't you?
I have not been.
Yeah. That happens.
I've been working a lot more. I've been actually working more on video stuff, like I mentioned last time. So I've got a lot of stuff shot, a lot of stuff edited. I submitted my portion of the old ass retro gamers next compilation topic, and I've done some unboxings. I've done a channel update that I'm going to release first. I recorded that 3 different times because I kept thinking it sucked, and I added a big weapon to my arsenal for my YouTube content. And I'm sure you know about it, because if you forgot, then that's a shame. But I ordered myself a awesome PC so I
Yeah,
can
it's
record record my gameplay, stuff like that. Just up the quality of my production in general.
software.
Yeah, rather than using my shitty Walmart laptops.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So I kind of helped initially. You were thinking about building, and I looked at parts, got them a parts list and everything. But
Mhm.
in the end, uh, just for the sake of simplicity, I thought maybe it'd be better to go with a custom built PC. There's actually a few companies out there that they'll build your computer for you, good prices, no bloatware. You know, it's not what you're going to get with like an HP computer. So essentially, you know, not much of a difference if comparing to if you did it yourself. There might be a little extra premium on there because they did the work, but
yeah,
it's a pretty beefy computer. It's meant more for trying to be like a capture rendering machine, but it's definitely gonna be
game.
able to run. Yeah, totally game capable. It has a 1060 in it, and you know, only got 8 gigs of memory. It's a I forget what i7 is. It's one of the current gen ones though, so pretty
Yeah,
decent computer.
it's pretty slick. Like, reason I got you to help me is I know nothing of computer guts. I just know what I wanted it to do, described what I wanted it to do to you, and you figured it out for me.
Yeah,
So huge thanks to you,
happy to
because
help.
without that I would be stuck with what I have.
And pretty
Yeah,
soon here you can ascend the ranks.
yeah. It's an i7 7th gen 7700K, whatever that means. You
Yep.
just had me wondering. Yeah, so I have to keep the specs thing from the website on my phone. So when I tell someone I know that likes PC gaming and whatever is like, what's the specs? I'm like, hold on, I'll send you a screenshot.
But you're like that you know, the guy who just retired got a windfall from a company and goes out and buys some sick ass classic muscle car. You
Yeah,
know,
I
people
just
be
all
like,
I really
"What's
got
under the hood?" Be like, "An
I,
engine."
it goes.
Listen,
Well, I just wanted to emulate NES games anyway, so
right?
play
So
Minecraft.
no, it's awesome. It's surprisingly, I was really impressed by the price that
Yeah,
they
it
were
ended up actually being
going for.
cheaper than buying the parts separately, especially with the graphics card price shooting up there.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
some stuff wasn't even available, so actually the only way to get it without having to downgrade was to buy the pre-built. So
yeah.
the only shame was that months ago when you came up to visit on March break there, you brought me this badass tower and power supply that was what made me go, all right, definitely building. And now it's just kind of, oh, I have a backup, so backup's always good to have.
Yeah, I guess.
Turn
Power
it into
supply
a,
for sure. The case, you'll probably never need another case, but who knows? Maybe you want to get in on
I
that
got kids. I got
Bitcoin mining
kids.
or something.
I got kids, so or I could turn it into like a weird fire fridge for the game room.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, it's awesome. I'm excited to have that. Also, to go with it, I ordered an Elgato HD, the same one that you use for capturing for your vids, but
Yep.
unfortunately, they sent me the wrong one. They sent me like the newest version,
Yeah,
which
they're the
is
HD 60S.
yeah, which technically costs a bit more, and for the new stuff is apparently like a bit better, but for the new stuff, the old stuff it apparently can't do.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I believe it does 60 FPS, where the original Elgato HD only does 30 FPS.
well, you know
I
I'm all about that stuff, so
Yeah.
that's good to hear. And
And I'm not sure. I know they have another one. They have actually a PCIe card
mhm,
for a computer that
yeah, the
does
Pro,
4K and 60 FPS, but I'm not
yeah,
sure if yours does 4K. But you
I
know,
don't think it does, but does it have to?
yeah, really,
Yeah,
that's
that's why I look at it. And yeah, it was actually kind of a bummer. You know, like it's cool for capturing games that are on the new systems that I'm playing. That's awesome. But I really wanted it to be able to kind of across the board. But saying that, also when I came down for the concert, the first time I came down and we hung out. You gave me the Hopodge HD capture thing, so, and that can totally do all the old stuff. So there you go.
Yeah.
No worries. I was initially really pissed off when I went across to my PO box and checked it out, and I was just like, huh. I sent you a picture immediately, so you obviously knew I was pissed off.
Yeah.
I was just like, huh, not what I ordered. You're like, yeah, definitely not what you ordered. I was like, great. But yeah, it is what it is. I think I can manage.
Yeah. I think it'll work out. Might be a little extra fiddling to get everything going, but believe the hoppage will do retro stuff just fine.
Yeah, you don't need really to worry about highest resolution and stuff as long as it captures it and it's not choppy. I am cool with that.
Yeah. And I will say, for anybody who is looking for a capture card, Elgato they just announced that they're no longer going to be manufacturing the Elgato HD, which is their original capture card that natively supports HDMI and
component.
Well, it has like an AV plug that has an adapter cable where you could do composite or component. So it's very, very versatile as long as you have those sorts of hookups for your retro consoles, which pretty much most of them do. Once you get back to like second gen, maybe not so much, but pretty much you can capture everything. So it's really nice. But with them canceling manufacturing of it, all of a sudden now the prices have jumped. So if you can find one, I would say look soon if you have been on the fence about getting into capture card, because
yeah, the Amazon had shot up.
Yeah, almost double.
But Newegg actually had it on sale, which is why I bought it there. And then they sent me the wrong one. So just keep that in mind. They had it in stock, apparently. They just weren't sending out that stock.
Yeah,
maybe they ended up selling them on Amazon because they're like, whoa.
Right.
Honestly, we can look like good guys, but we can also just sell it on Amazon and actually make money.
Yeah.
Just like saying, I don't scalp, but then you go on, well, I don't use my real name on eBay. Oh.
Yeah. Anything else going on? No gaming?
Very little. Honestly, I've been really trying to get my channel up to speed, so it's been a lot of that if I get the time, which is a real shame because I really want a game. I've been, as usual, and always, I am getting lots of games for some reason, but
just fall into your lab.
Oh yeah, I'm cutting back. I'm not gonna be gaming. I'm saving up because I'm going to the Midwest Gaming Classic this year. So I've made this vow, like I'm spending bare minimum on games, if any at all. And then all of a sudden games are like, hey, what you're not buying us? Oh, well, showing up anyway.
Yeah, it seems like when you're
I'm
like,
not stealing them, just to get that out of the way.
Yeah, it seems like when you're dead set, like I'm chilling out on my game buying, like all of a sudden just all these deals comes. I mean, the exact same thing happened to me.
Always.
We are going to MGC. We're gonna carpool, road trip.
That's gonna be a hell of a vlog. I think I'm gonna vlog for the first time.
And the other guy that's joining us, my friend, he's actually the one who gave me the hoppage and said if you know anybody who could make use of it, give it to
I definitely better use it before we go on the so it's not just try it yet.
Right.
So that's cool. I'm looking forward to using it, and that's what I actually just put it in perspective. It's like, well, I've got a thing that's pretty much just for that, so
yeah,
I'll have two things set up. So yeah, as long as it works good, I'm fine with that now. That being said, now I'm set up for the capturing and the improving my channel. I'm going to get my videos actually edited and out there and start capturing some footage to work towards doing some reviews I don't think I'm really gonna do streams, but I might do something in the vein of a Let's Play, but not exactly a Let's Play. Like maybe like I check this game out without like just straight gameplay, like just kind of showing sections of it and what I think. I'll be able to do. I know. I just want to be able to like show gameplay if I'm talking about a game rather than just holding up the game and be like, yeah, this game, I'm talking about you. Unless you've played it, you have no idea what it actually looks like. But I want to actually be able to like sidebar a video of the game playing. So
Cool.
I hope that turns out because
Yeah.
I've invested a lot of money in that, and it's only limited by my brain now. So if I can't do it well, it's because I'm dumb. But yeah, I'm looking forward to actually playing some games to capture some gameplay footage. And yeah, I'm also looking forward to not buying any more games, but games showing up.
Yeah.
So I can't say I'm completely against that, but it's also very annoying. Like as soon as you're like, no, I'm out of anything, you're like, oh man, yeah, I've got a girlfriend. All of a sudden, girls are like, man, oh, I'd love that guy. If only I had just told him sooner. She's like, yeah, he didn't care until I was in a relationship. Stuff like that. Or, it's what it always seems like. Oh, I'm done games. Oh, I'm never completely done games. And it's not a very big twist in my arm to convince me.
Sure.
But, these games are so cheap. You're like, that is rock bottom prices. Just those games, though. But yeah, so far I've not spent much money since my pact. So I've only had to use my my commando meme once. The I lied.
Yeah,
So,
right.
let's hope I get to keep it going. All right. So what have you been up to?
I've been pretty busy as far as gaming. It's been a productive couple weeks, surprisingly. So first off, I just want to mention I uploaded a response video to Levid, the retro gamer. He tagged me in a video to talk about my PlayStation 1 collection. So I just put that up at the time of, the day that we recorded this anyways. I put up the video. Interested to hear anybody's thoughts on it. Tried some new things, new format things. But yeah, so besides that, I have been gaming like crazy somehow. Mostly I've been kind of putting off other responsibilities, of course.
Yeah, I can't do that. Sorry. I put off responsibilities. I'll just hear them stomping above my head. So.
Right. So fortunately in my case, that I can push off responsibilities. And I'd mentioned that I'd been playing Titanfall 2. So I played through Titanfall 2 on Jason's recommendation. He had sent me that game a while ago, quite a while ago actually, and it came recommended highly, and I was like, what the hell? Let's squeeze it in. It's a shorter one.
Yeah, I found it for a deal, so I was like, oh man, he's got to check it out. Because I know it's something he wouldn't probably just buy on his own unless it was like $1.
True. But I was pleasantly surprised, to say the least. It far exceeded my expectations. It is actually a really good, for the single player campaign anyways. I didn't play any of the multiplayer stuff. That's kind of is what it is. But for the campaign itself, really enjoyable. They did some interesting things with the story. They tried to mix it up.
Yeah, it was
it's still a first-person shooter in the end, but how the situations they put you in, and taking, you don't start out in the mech and get the mech, and then you got to get out of the mech and do this stuff, and there's some pretty cool twists, especially later on in the story.
Yeah, it was cool, and the boss battles were cool. It wasn't just like hide and spam them and stuff. Like they actually had their own feel. Like you're like, oh yeah, this is and you had to use different combinations of the guns you could pick up, because you could only hold like one or two. I think it was one type of gun loadout at a time. So you had to kind of be like, what works best against this guy, and thankfully you could actually switch it if you died or whatever. So I thought that was really cool. That was one of my favorite aspects of that game.
One thing I do like is it's also a game that encourages you to experiment with the weapons. A lot of games you can kind of you get a gun and you're like, I like this one, so I'm going to pretty much stick with it. Where in many ways you can kind of still do that. I mean, if you really want to, you probably could, but it's kind of like they throw a variety of enemies at you at pretty much at all times, and they're always dropping different weapons. So basically, you're like emptying your few magazines for this rifle, throw it down. You're grabbing that one, using this. Oh, that's out. Throw that down. Grab this one. So it kind of like almost adds like this John or a John Woo level of things.
Yeah.
Everybody's familiar with his movies, but just
Yeah.
surprisingly good game. I would say if anybody enjoys a first-person shooter with a good story, I would definitely recommend checking it out.
And I thought the mech combat was like top notch because I played a couple of games. I'm like, giant fighting robots. That's badass. And then just been really disappointed.
Yeah,
that they just feels clunky
like,
and over complicated.
Yeah, and it's it's simple to do. Controls are relatively the same when you're in or out of the mech, but when you're in it, it feels like you're in a mech. It has weight to it. They get good like visual aesthetics to the effects and the movement and
but it doesn't feel clunky at the same time.
Right.
Like they give you the feeling of being in the mech, but not being in this like
big lumbering,
just like trudging, big lumbering oaf.
Yeah, because I mean, especially in the game's universe, like the Titans they can be pretty versatile and pretty agile, so that you can do dashes and
there's different body types and everything that you can pick to customize. And I did play a little bit of the online, and I had a lot of fun with it, but it's just I didn't want to get too stuck on it, so I didn't really get too in depth with it. But I really enjoyed the little I did play of it online, and I could totally see that. I played a bit of the first one, and the first one was only online, and that really hurt it, I think, because it just it was a big deal when it came out for a little while, and then it just went away. Like there was even for the Xbox. I mean, it was only on the Xbox, but there was actually a console bundle that came with it, and I had it before I even had an Xbox because my friend bought one. There was something wrong with it was faulty out of the box, but he'd already downloaded the code. So when he brought it back, he got another one. I was like, well, since you've already used the code, can I have the new one? He goes, well, yeah. So that was pretty cool. I think it wasn't even with the Xbox. I think it was with the controller. One of the shoulder buttons was like, it stuck down like right away. So he's like, oh, well, I'm not going to stand for that. Which is a real shame because I'm sure like Walmart just threw it out after, and you're like, bruh. Right. It was like it was like pretty close to launch too, so that was like a huge tragedy. Yeah, but the second one, everything felt better like on the online, because like I liked the first one when I played it, but again I didn't really get too into it. And then the second one, I was like, I could probably get really into this, but then I just cut myself off before it happened so I could get to other games.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So and then kind of keeping with the shooters, as I mentioned, I will be playing the new Colossus here pretty soon. Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus. But in preparation of that, I
console exclusive now, right? You're console for life with the shooters now?
No. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, I guess that's the last thought on Titanfall is I'm primarily, well, up until this point, like I absolutely refuse to play first-person games on consoles. I vastly prefer my mouse and keyboard. After playing Titanfall 2, I still massively prefer my mouse and keyboard, but I was again, I guess, pleasantly surprised on how well it controlled. If I was playing like multiplayer or something, it probably wouldn't go too well. But in the single player, anyways, it had, it wasn't like just like a blatantly like cheating auto aim, but it had like auto aim assistance, and I think that made a huge difference.
The aim assist isn't too bad because it kind of was like, no, you're aiming right there, right? Not right there. You're right there. Like, yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
To each his
so
own. To each his
yeah.
own. I'm just glad you tried it. That's what I'm all about. I'm making you come out of your shell, break your rules. Till I got you. I got you. Last year, my rule I got you to break was play a JRPG again, and you did
Yeah.
that. And then this time it was to play a shooter on consoles. So
Yep. And so moving back to the PC, I picked up Wolfenstein: The Old Blood, and I played through that after Titanfall, and pretty decent game. Not great, not bad. Just kind of, I'd say better than mediocre, but it's worth a play, especially if you can get it for cheap. It was only
yeah,
like 4 or 5 hours to get through it.
yeah, I heard it was more like a DLC. And actually, you can get it as in a bundle with the new order.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool.
So not a whole lot really to say on that. If you like Wolfenstein, if you like kind of more of the classic shooter style, definitely worth playing. It's a quick romp.
Who doesn't love shooting Nazis?
Yeah, exactly. And then they even go a little bit zombie there at the end. So you get to shoot Nazis and Nazi zombies.
Hell yeah!
And then after that, I decided to try to knock out a retro game because I've just neglected my retro stuff, just trying to keep up with the current gen. I know a lot of people can commiserate on that, but I decided to play one of my reproduction games that I got a while back, and I ended up playing Magical Poppin', which was a Super Famicom exclusive. Some years ago, obviously the game was, somebody got a hold of the ROM, somebody eventually translated it, and there is a local guy who does reproductions, and I asked him if he could make a reproduction copy for me. So I got that, and it is a absolutely fantastic platformer, side-scrolling platformer game. Nothing too crazy with the gameplay, but it's seems like it tries to do a lot of different things. It's probably one of the better platformers that I've played on the Super Nintendo, and the sprite work in the game is absolutely fantastic. But I think one of the kind of bigger things that sets it apart is that there's voice acting for the main character Poppin. A lot,
That's cool.
a lot of voice acting. Like she has like 30 lines or so. Everything
That's better than get him. Yeah.
Everything from like swinging a weapon to taking damage to ducking, looking up, balancing on the ledge.
That's next level for Super Nintendo.
It's pretty impressive, and it's a colorful, fun game. Not terribly long, not too difficult. I had I think 2 restarts, and they'll just start you at the beginning of the level, and you just keep going from there. So if you got a few hours, you could probably sit down and get through it in one sitting. But I would definitely recommend checking it out. Of course, you can emulate, get a repro. Might be available on some compilation somewhere, but definitely worth checking out. Definitely probably I'd say kind of like in the gem category is Super Nintendo, just because
Gem.
it's not a widely released game, pretty niche, and you have to go out of your way to play it. So
Guess what I did? Threw it on my SNES Classic.
there you go.
There you go, hidden gems.
Yes. SNES Classic, NES Classic, fully hackable. Of course, people say, why don't you just get a Pi? But, for those who have the
I love to eat
classics,
pie while I play with my SNES Classic. I'm not going to turn them down. I'll have blueberry pie or raspberry pie.
for us shameless collectors who only, we got it because it's a collectible item, essentially.
I will get a pie.
Yeah.
Eventually, but
Well, I mean, you have a
if there was one, yeah, I do, don't I?
You do, and you probably have emulated on your laptop too, but that's besides the point here. Nice.
Yeah.
Was that Skexy?
Yeah.
Skexy from Dark Crystal.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just stoked to have that because you know how much I liked my NES Classic.
Yeah.
I got that loaded up. I'm gonna have NES and Master System, maybe a couple TurboGrafx games on that, and my SNES Classic is topped out at 277 games, all Super Nintendo. That's cool. That's cool for now.
Yeah.
I need to get a couple translations and stuff. I think I could fit maybe a couple more games on there. There's a couple I wanted to fit on there that I can't play without a translation, but no big. When my ambitions get more than my NES and my SNES Classics can hold, then I will cave and get a Pi.
Yeah,
Or
for
just
sure.
or use my PC.
Yeah, for sure. And then after Magical Poppin', pretty much I decided to play Magical Poppin' because I wanted to play something the couple days that I was patiently awaiting for the release of Iconoclasts, which is just came out on the 23rd. I've been looking forward to this game for a year or so that I heard about it. It is a Metroidvania, so great genre in itself, being a Metroidvania, but this is big on
Metroid,
pixel art.
Castlevania. Ugh, who likes those?
It's very focused on the pixel art, which is very impressive in this game. And so far, I haven't played a ton. I got like 2 or 3 hours into it so far, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm very impressed that this game is made. Again, this is another one of those indie games that's made by one person, and there's a lot of indie games out there that are made by one person, a few people, but the amount of detail that this guy put in for the character animations is beyond impressive. Like every single conversation that these characters have, like it's new animations. They get put in new situations.
Sweet.
It's great. Yeah, definitely check it out. It's gonna be like one of those memorable games for the year for sure.
Well, I will check it out.
And I will let everybody know once I finish it. Of course, probably talk about that on the next episode.
Hell yeah. We got 2
Yes.
weeks. 2 weeks. Can you get through it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that won't be a problem because I've put in like 2-3 hours yesterday, so I'm on pace.
The jealousy is real here.
With that said, I think we should probably move into some kind of newsy topics.
What you got?
Got all kinds of topics. So the first one here is just really a quick mention that I want to give. I'm not going to say much about it. For anybody who is a fan of, I guess, like classic Simpson moments, or maybe even just like Simpsons memes, I would recommend checking out a video called Steamed Hams, but it's Hotline Miami. And essentially what somebody did was use they must have did a mix. They used the level editor for Hotline Miami, and they did some like other like pixel things and recreated the classic Principal Skinner. Man, I'm having trouble saying that tonight for some reason. Principal Skinner and Super
Nintendo Chalmers.
Super Nintendo Chalmers. Classic sketch about steamed hams, and it's an impressive video, and it's just a classic Simpsons moment. You gotta love it. So look it up. It's funny. It's really funny.
Sweet.
Stupid shit. I just wanted to mention it. So.
Well, speaking of getting a bunch of games lately and not playing anything, the closest I've gotten to games is I checked out a new collection app. And it's called Game Collection App. I'm not sure what all iOS, if it's available on anything but iPhones, but on my iPhone it's available. I'm not sure if it's available on Android or anything like that. But it's a pretty cool collection app that you add it just like any other app, but I find it's very streamlined. It's quick. It finds what you're looking for a lot faster than the other one I had. It's got a huge database already, and it also keeps track, at least of a ballpark of what your collection is worth. When you put in a game, It asks you what you've got for the game. If you've got just the cart, you can click manual. You can click box, click that you have others like the inserts, and then you can just click that you've got it new. So if you got a sealed copy, you just click that. I think that's really cool just to kind of have a ballpark of what your collection's worth in general. I mean, it's not going to be 100% specific, but it goes by a few different things, kind of like price charting does, where it goes by like recently sold things on eBay and Amazon and a couple other buy sell sites like that. So I think that's really cool. It's cooler than the other one I was using anyway, which was just the
Sweet.
collector's app.
And I just checked, and it is available on Android as well.
Perfect. So yeah, I encourage anyone to check it out. It's a really, really intuitive design too. Like I kind of got behind on putting things I picked up into the one I was using, and I recently just wiped it so I could start from scratch to make sure I wasn't missing anything. So that kind of gets rid of the purpose of having a collection app. If you're like, oh yeah, I don't have it, and you buy it, and you like get home, and you're like, oh, I do have it, just wasn't in my app. Why did I even bother having that app? So
yeah,
it seems it's one of the main things I like about having an app is especially when you watch a lot of collection videos and you buy a lot of bulk pickups and stuff. Unless it's like a one you really wanted, you're gonna obviously remember you got that. But a few like smaller games, or if you're going just for complete sets, or there's like NES, I'll take any NES game if I don't have it. But sometimes I don't recall if I've got a game. It's a huge tool to use when I'm out game hunting and stuff like that. So yeah, I definitely recommend checking it out. I'm loving it so far. You can streamline how fast you can add stuff even faster if you have a bunch of card only games. You can like add in a whole bunch of them at once and then just hit done, and it'll add them all at once. If you're say if there's a series on a certain system like Mega Man, and you have them all card only, or you have them all complete in box or whatever, you could just click them all in a row as soon as you type in Mega Man and just hit good to go. And then yeah, it's really fast. In about half an hour I had it, or 45 minutes maybe, I added 215 of my NES games. I've still got a few to go, but unfortunately kids weren't sleeping well last night, so I didn't get to get farther with it. But yeah, it's a lot faster than my previous app so far. They come up like instantly as soon as you're typing it, like goes by the keystroke. That's something that's very essential when you're adding a lot of games at once. So yeah,
sweet.
That's what I'll have to say about that. It's, I believe, developed by someone in the Oregon Retro Gamers group. I've seen someone talking about it as well just after I downloaded it. And yeah, he got mentioned in this. So yeah, big shout out to him. He did an awesome job.
Excellent.
So yeah, you should check it out and let me know what you think.
Will do, for sure. As is, I just use Google Sheets. Not the most
sheet the bed there.
yeah. Hey, it does does what I need it to do, but it's not very in depth, obviously.
It's cool though. Yeah, it's yeah, like I said, I liked the way my other app displayed the items though. Like it wouldn't always have like the the cover art. Sometimes you'd have to like Google a picture and it'd take a while that way.
Mm-hmm.
But when you looked at the app, it looked like you were looking at rentals store shelves. Like they looked like they were all just sitting on a shelf waiting to be rented, and I thought that was a really cool look. But that's what all it has over this. Anyway, on to the next topic. Looks like Nintendo is shaking shit up again, and people are really on the fence both ways with the Nintendo Labo announcement this past week. So anyone who hasn't heard anything about it, it's essentially a game that comes with peripherals that are cardboard.
Yeah.
And plans to build more. I mean, I'm sure they said, well, they'll give away the designs for free, but like obviously you need the game to be able to build this. And it doesn't just look like cardboard swords and stuff like this. Like it looks like engineering know-how goes into building these things, like pianos, make like a robot suit. There's a fishing rod. There was all types of wacky crap in that trailer. And I myself, I don't care for it, but I don't think it's aimed at our age demographic. So
Definitely not for
what
the adult.
what's your thoughts on it? I mean, I love making robot costumes, but
Yeah,
never,
sure.
and we've all, I think, made ourselves a cardboard Nintendo at some point in our life and a cardboard TV and pretended to play a game that you don't have. Or
yeah.
maybe it was just me.
I'm, it is what it is. It's not for me. I'm not interested, but I mean, I think it's kind of cool. The thing I'd be more questioning is the price. It's basically a full price game, and you get the cardboard. Like, are you going to be able to easily get replacement cardboard? I mean, it's made of cardboard. It's for
cardboard.
children.
Well, if you order it on Amazon, you already got a backup set because it was coming in an Amazon box.
Right. So I guess that's kind of my.
It's a very renewable resource. Like if you want it to last longer, I think get like a thicker grade cardboard, like a refrigerator box or.
Yeah, but it's the kit itself is going to be. It's like you get it in the board. It's like engineered and you pop it apart.
It's basically like popped out papercraft type stuff.
Yeah,
and you just
so
snap it together.
I don't know how easily it would be to necessarily. I mean, I'm sure to some extent, like if it gets damaged, you can replace it with other cardboard or something.
Yeah, like if it comes with like a stencil or like something that you can like make your own, make more, make a 2-player, make 2 robot things,
Yeah, and again, I mean, I guess I can't really say for certain because we haven't really seen the games extensively, but it really kind of sounds like you get like a tech demo or a mini game for full price kind of deal.
Yeah,
we'll have to see more. I don't know, withhold judgment on that aspect, but
it doesn't seem like something that should be a full price game. But I will say if you use it and it doesn't need a different game for every thing separately, if it's just like the Nintendo Labo game, and then you buy the little kits.
Oh, sure.
If you want to, like there's, just like bundles, like you get the game and you can get it in different kits, that's fine. But you don't need to buy all the kits. If you just buy the one and you're good to go, that's more okay. But if you've got to buy, I think that's what it is. Like you can buy like the robot bundle and you can buy the piano bundle. And I think you can buy like the cardboard sets separately, and I'm sure they're not going to be a full price game price for like I said, I'm not really interested in it myself. I think my kids will be, and
it
like
seems
I said,
really
I think
fun for kids.
My kids are really real big crafting kids, but also my kids are kids, so I'm gonna want to get some thick cardboard because I also have even younger kids. So I think I like the imagination aspect of it, keeping the imagination in gaming. So Nintendo does. Doesn't always work. Sometimes it really catches on.
Yeah,
other people rip on it, then watch.
I wouldn't go as far as calling it
out.
like innovation. Like people always want to say, "Oh, look at Nintendo being innovative again," and no, they're just doing this weird thing. And it's kind of fun. And that's cool. Yeah. We don't gotta put them on a pedestal for everything that they do.
No, that's why I didn't use that word. I said it's bringing the imagination aspect of it, like playing with cardboard. Like you said, when you're a kid, how many things do you make out of cardboard? Like you just make armor, you make swords. How many times did you use up all the wrapping paper at Christmas and then just wallop people with the board, and then the sword turned into nunchucks and within about 5 minutes? Because
I still do that.
Yeah, exactly. So there we go. That's like a low-tech Labo demo right there.
Yeah.
We're like, wow, this actually is fun. So that being said, like I said, the kids will probably be interested in it, which means I'm not gonna pay full price for it, but I'll watch for maybe to check it out. I'm gonna have them watch because they like to watch the videos of kids playing with crap online. Like opening surprise bags of toys, and all that. So I'll have them watch somebody play it, and if it looks cool to them, I'll probably do it because time with the kids is cool, and time with video games with the kids is double cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, moving on from that, what you got next?
Got Anthem delayed.
Anthem has been delayed by Bioware into 2019 by the looks of it. That sucks. I mean, that was like my pick of the show last year at E3. And on another note, like I always say, they're pushing it back. It means they're making the game better. So,
right. But there's kind of like there was an extra piece to that. When you originally brought this idea or this topic, is Anthem delayed and is being made the make or break game.
Yeah, they're putting
Bioware.
They're putting a lot of eggs in this basket.
So
because especially after the Mass Effect debacle, maybe they're on the ropes a bit.
Since I haven't seen the article, my question is this a Bioware statement or is this an EA statement? But either case, this goes back to when we talked about this previously, is I'm absolutely horrified for Bioware right now from what EA has been doing to all these other studios. And it's almost always the result.
Give it your best shot. Not good enough.
EA's meddling and forcing the tacked on fucking multiplayer and all the stupid bullshit that they do, and the cutting important development costs, and we're gonna push this onto this studio. I'm
not letting them do what they do, like taking an already good studio and then forcing them to do things against their will and ruining their product.
So I've been no stranger to my love of Bioware. I love Bioware. They're one of my favorite game studios. They've made some of my favorite games of all time.
Mine too.
I saw this, especially recent things of EA and what happened with Mass Effect Andromeda. I don't know, man. Could Anthem be that good of a game for Bioware not to be shut down? And I think even if it's a really good game, it's not going to get the sales numbers they want, and EA is going to shut down Bioware. If I'm wrong, I would be so happy that I am so wrong, but I fear the worst.
And you're right to fear that, because EA is going to EA.
Yeah.
Hate is going to hate. EA is going to EA.
They just destroy companies. Like it's like what happened with Visceral. Like I was when we talked about that on that episode of the podcast, I was like legit like pissed off, and even just thinking about it, like
he went off.
This is Bioware, like one of the greatest Western game developers like ever, and just on a whim, because a game doesn't meet some sales expectations, they're gonna axe the studio, and we're gonna lose all these amazing series, or they're just gonna butcher them when they remove all the teams from the games, and then they keep making the games because of a name.
Look, they did the thing that we told them to do, and it wrecked the game. They suck. Let's shut them down. Like I said, they don't just let the people do what they do best.
I want to
try to force the ways to make more money, and then they cripple their game. Like look what they did to Battlefront.
Yeah, exactly. I want to be hopeful. I have full faith in Bioware. Despite, and we've talked about this. I've talked about this many times. Despite what people say about Mass Effect Andromeda, I thought it was a very good game. Definitely worth playing if you like Mass Effect. But unfortunately, my opinion doesn't matter. As a whole, it's the masses, which nobody listening to this podcast, I don't consider any of you the masses. I think you're all intelligent people. You're not the general audience. That
everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but I hate when people just bandwagon off a screenshot or a little thing. Because if I just went by what I saw online on a lot of games, and oh look, there's a technical glitch. Oh, what a shitty game! I wouldn't play half the games I played. I never
Yeah,
would play. I'd never play a Bethesda game.
and
Like really, why do they Bethesda gets a pass and their games are janky as shit,
you
but they're
know,
still awesome.
so many
Not ripping on
games.
Bethesda, but
Right.
like what games can you think of that are buggier even years later than Bethesda games? But
Skyrim
do
5
you like
years
them any
later.
less? Yeah, on the Switch. Oh look, that same bug that they know about that modders have fixed, but the company themselves can't just implement.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's-
but like, oh yeah, Mass Effect, the facial animations are weird. Nobody buy this game. Let's boycott it
Yeah.
nationwide and have
Unfortunately. And
you can't even just make a misstep anymore. That's what sucks in
there with Mass Effect Andromeda, there are some valid criticisms. Like there's some I see them as smaller issues with like some the gameplay aspects and some of the questing, but if you give it time, you get over that initial hump, I think the game really comes into its own. I think all, as I've said before, all the typical standout Bioware elements are there. Once you give it time to kind of grow into the story, you start to do more of the side quests and meet more of the characters. The writing's still there. It's
yeah, you got to get in. It's a totally new character set. Look at the first Mass Effect. It was a slow burn at the beginning.
yeah,
You had to get through the first 2 or 3 areas before you were like, oh, this is actually a really cool game, rather than just, yeah, it's okay.
right.
Because when I
But
first played it, I was like, this looks really cool. When I picked it up, and I was like, right on. And I played it, and I was like, yeah, it's all right. And I kind of like, I could take it or leave it at first, and then after I was a couple hours in, I was like, this game is freaking awesome. And then I couldn't put it down. And then the second one came out, and I couldn't put it down. And the third one came out, and I couldn't put it down. And I wish I did right before that end scene, but I didn't. Mass
yeah,
Effect 3 was
so
one of the greatest games of last generation.
oh,
It was
absolutely.
just heavily marred by the ending that could never live up to the expectation of
Right.
a 3 game story arc. It was set to fail just from the
And
beginning.
again, it was Bioware meddling. Like if they didn't have to tack on that multiplayer, which the multiplayer was okay for Mass
Yeah, I didn't
Effect
mind
3,
it. I actually liked it.
but it shouldn't have been there. It had no reason to be there whatsoever, and that time and cost of developing that was our game ending
Yeah.
essentially.
Well, then we got it anyway, but it was like later
Yeah, I mean,
after a mass
I
outcry.
think
But then I
they
think
massively,
that destroyed the art.
yeah.
If you have to alter your art, it's no longer your actual
I don't know.
vision.
I
I
think
think
I'm
they were kind of like
incredibly
forced
happy
to
that they
George
did that.
Lucas their own game. That was what they had intended, they
Well,
said.
George Lucas ruins
Yeah,
with
I know, but
edits. BioWare improves with edits.
yeah,
Where that the DLC, the replacement ending, even though relatively the same, expanded so much more. I think
yeah,
for
definitely.
what they could have done in that situation, I think they did the best they could. And I, for one, am okay with that ending for Mass Effect 3. It doesn't ruin the entire series for me. One of these days I will sit down and I will be so excited to play through Mass Effect 1 through 3 again. And
I really want to play through it on the Wii U. I got it for like pennies a little while ago, and I think with the Wii U tablet, that game will be a totally new experience. I've played through one enough that I am actually kind of fine never playing through one again. But that's just me. I think I beat it 10 times, so I'm all good on Mass Effect 1. I can play through 2 a bit more, but that is what it is.
yeah.
All right, we'll probably should move on to our next topic here,
Yeah.
and that is speaking of being a developer, there's this awesome program in Kickstarter called NES Maker, which, if you haven't heard of it, it allows you to be a developer without having to learn coding, and that sounds amazing to me. You can make your own NES games. Like I said, it's in Kickstarter, and they have smashed all their goals and all their stretch goals so far. I think they're still thinking up more. because they're still exceeding their funding that they initially set up for, and it looks amazing. I think this will be the coolest thing. You can make NES games from almost all the genres you can think of, besides sports. But who's really hurting to make some sports games?
And it's essentially like a toolkit, a builder. Kind of think RPG Maker in a way, where they provide you with a lot of the basics, and you can just point and click and add all the stuff. I'm sure there's going to be, for those who want to get a little bit more involved, I'm sure there's additional editors that you can do. But the neat thing about this is not only do you just make this game, you can, if you get the certain level or the other accessories, you can actually load the game onto an NES cart and actually play it on your NES.
Yeah, that's what the big draw to me was, like, to be able to make my own game, play it on the original hardware, bring it over to a buddy's. I think it'd be really cool just to get like almost like a community of friends. Like, say if you got it too, I'd just send you my file, like almost like a challenge. Like, here, beat my game, I'll beat your game, and just like you used to do. I don't know, when I was a kid, my friend and I used to make these like game levels on a page.
Oh yeah.
And you'd have to like jump. Oh, you gotta get the chain and the keys up here, and you had to figure out your way. I just picture it being like that, but as like adults.
Well,
and I think that's amazing. Like, who hasn't at one point in their life been like, how awesome would it be to make a game? Unfortunately, I'm super lazy and don't want to learn coding because it sounds really boring until you know what you're doing. And I've always wanted to make games since the NES was out. So to start with an NES Maker is probably the coolest idea ever for me. Just make whatever game you want. There's like, their goals were different modules. It started with the adventure module, and then they had a brawler, a shooter, what were the other ones? RPG, and a couple others. And then their stretch goal was a music editor, so you wouldn't have to go out of the program and use I think it was called Famicom something.
Famitracker.
But Famitracker, yeah, to make your own stuff, so you could do it in program, and that sounds cool. Just to have it all in one package. Yeah, I was really considering backing it, and once they destroyed all their goals, I'm all on board. I'm backing it immediately. I actually forgot to do that today. I meant to do that today, but I've been all about the computer the last few days, so now that I got that set up, I can back it. Yeah, I'm super excited for that. Are you considering getting it, or?
I'm thinking about it. I'm not totally sure, mainly because the fact is just, being as busy as I am to sit down and try to make a game, try to make a good game, would probably take a pretty good amount of effort, but I'm thinking about it. It's pretty. One of the Kickstarter goals is they actually give you the software. You get the flashing device, and get some carts. Yeah, so we'll see. I'm definitely keeping an eye on it.
You're gonna keep your credit card on it,
right? Yeah. As is, I already have like 6 things like still active on crowdfunding, but
that's one more.
We'll see.
That's one more.
We'll see.
Seems already good to go. It's pretty much at your house already. You just need to buy it.
Right.
On the devil on both shoulders.
Yeah.
Speaking of the devil, just kidding. Xbox Game Pass. Xbox Game Pass has announced that all the subscribers will now be getting any first-party Microsoft developed games day one as part of their subscription, which I think is a really cool incentive for anyone considering jumping on that. And I don't know, I don't have much to say about it. I just thought that was pretty cool. So, like, usually that kind of stuff, you're like, oh yeah, you're getting games that are like at least 6 months old, and maybe one newer one to kind of get you going. But as is right now, that's not much for anything because how many exclusive Xbox games have come out in the last year?
Yeah.
In-house developed ones. I think it's only in-house developed, like Microsoft Studios or one of the one companies they own. I could be wrong there, but I think that's what they meant. But yeah. Anyway, just thought I'd mention that.
Yeah, and then another little just quick mention is ThinkGeek is making some Sony-based figures. A lot of people want to compare them to amiibos, kind of in design style. It's a little character with a stand. They don't have any functionality. They're just figures. They're called the Totaku Collection, and they're gonna have like the Bloodborne Hunter. There's gonna be a Sackboy, a Kratos, Crash Bandicoot, Rapper the Rapper. Some kind of like
randomly the Wipeout.
Yeah.
Ship, whatever.
Wipeout,
It's like that's
Heihachi.
a really. These figure might as well have a Gran Turismo car if you're gonna go with a more car from Gran Turismo. Like wow,
Yeah.
awesome! It's just a Hot Wheels on a stick.
And with this, I will say I will be buying a few of these, but
well, it'll be
not gonna
just
get
like not to completely compare them to amiibos, but as with amiibos, I'll only buy the ones I'm interested in. It's not like, oh my god, I'm gonna pre-order the whole set, because some of these are, I'm not big on a lot of the mascots for PlayStation. I like the Little Big Planet games. Doesn't mean I need Sackboy.
Yeah.
I do love Kratos. I love me some Kratos though. God of War games are kind of a system seller when it comes to PlayStation. I bought a PS3 because God of War 3 was coming out. So, and on my PS2, those were like my most played games were 1 and 2. So definitely be getting a few of those.
Yeah, and I can't scoff at the lack of any functionality because I have amiibos here and I don't have a Wii U or a 3DS or. Can you even use amiibos with 3DS?
Yeah, new 3DS, old and regular 3DS. I think you could buy like a thing that's stuck in the side.
Okay.
Oh, cool! Now I can do it.
So it's collectible figures for characters I care about. I'm all for it.
These have no functionality besides kicking foot soldier ass.
Yeah.
Those have no functionality besides busting all the ghosts.
Yeah.
So if you like action figures, there's obviously no shame in it. Like,
yeah.
They also don't have any functionality in the box. So
yeah.
They're just there. They look cool. It's just like collecting a sealed game. It's there to look at. Look at that. I've got that. Yeah, it's a struggle with some stuff, especially things with moving parts.
Right.
Or when you're low on space. I know about that. I was just like, just open all these, but I'll immediately regret it.
Yeah.
And I'll probably cry while doing it. But when I was setting up my action figures out in the other room there, I was just like, there are so many. I could just not have to buy more shelving units if I just opened these all and displayed them really tight together. But I'm very happy I didn't do that, especially when I was like, I wonder what this one's worth. I remember this one kind of was like pricey when I got it. Holy crap. So yeah, I think there's no shame in them not having functionality because the functionality on them is kind of mute even on the amiibos.
Yeah,
so
it's really pointless a lot of the time.
Their body's useful to me. Like I said, the only game I found any use for amiibos was Zelda. Blah.
Yeah.
Next topic.
So I wanted to quickly mention, if anybody is not aware, Smash JT. He's been a guest on the podcast. Of course, he is the
best.
The best, really. He's seems like he's doing pretty well. His channel's had some pretty decent growth. Maybe not.
Well, he deserves it.
Yeah. And lately he's been doing, after all this YouTube crap that's been talked to death, everybody's aware, I would imagine.
If you're not aware of it, you don't care about it, probably.
Yeah, that, or you can find thousands of videos talking about it. But he to try to help the community and share some of the things he's learned, he's recently been doing some live streams called Rate My Channel, where essentially he kind of like looks at people's channels and gives tips on how to possibly improve them. Uh, Everything from improving channel art to content to production, the whole kind of real pointers. He's not harsh, but he doesn't
He's not gonna ignore
pussy,
something because you're his friend.
yeah, he's not going to pussyfoot around the issues. So it's very good.
Tough love.
Some things from what I've watched, and he actually recently did a critique on my channel, so thank you for that. But even from watching some of the previous ones, like there's a few things that I was like, I never really thought about that, and there's other things that I was aware of, like for instance, some of my video lengths can be a little long, and I understand in the grand scheme of YouTube
Especially
that's
these
not
podcasts.
yeah. True that. Well, podcasts can be long though, because it's
We're
podcast.
loud. We're loud. We're not. We snippet it up, I guess. Just topic by topic.
But if anybody gets the opportunity, definitely check those out. I know,
Especially if you're wanting to grow your channel and
yeah, if you're looking
some
for
pointers.
any sort of pointers, and I mean these are really, really good informational live streams. They're not made publicly available on his channel, but if you check him on social media, he's shared the links to them, or you can send him a message, and I'm sure he would share that, so you can check it out. Very valuable information.
Yeah,
Absolutely
cheers to him for
love
that.
he's doing this.
The
Yeah.
Smash JT Get Good Boot Camp.
Yeah, I got my soda here, so
Chugging out of my Slayer mug.
yeah, and then
Big ups to him, man. That's awesome. He's a really cool guy.
Going off of the Smash JT hype train here,
Hype?
he asked he had recently done a video called "Why Do We Buy New Video Games?" and he wanted us to talk about this on the podcast. So
Definitely.
we can always use good topics.
Well, why do you buy them new?
So I buy new video games less than you'd think for like standard new releases. A lot of times I don't buy those games new. Typically new releases are like collector's editions, limited editions, or games that I know I'm going to be playing like almost immediately. Otherwise, typically I'll wait. I'm just trying to think recently.
Well, even if collector's editions you got, like Wolfenstein 2.
Yeah,
you just got that like 2 weeks ago, and
months old.
Yeah.
I just got the Mirror's Edge 2 collector's edition because I got that for insanely cheap. That's a year old or so.
Well, then there's ones are going to be going through the roof, and if you don't get it pre-ordered and save a bit, you're probably not going to want to get it later because it's going to be like 3 times the price. Because
right,
scalpage.
But otherwise, there are some times when I will buy a game new just because of the fact it's out. I want the game. I want to support the company because if you're waiting a while and you're buying a game discounted, the company's not really, the developer's not seeing those benefits, which is what it is. I'm not going to say everybody should buy their games brand new to support their favorite developers, but
Small developer maybe.
That is something I do keep in mind. Like for instance,
smaller studios.
I'm trying to think of some other, like the Shadow of the Colossus remake. I could wait on that one. I'm probably not going to play it as soon as it comes out, but I have that pre-ordered.
Well,
I'm trying to think of other
that
things.
Being said, though, with the pre-orders, unless it's a collector's edition, on Amazon you're saving 20%.
Well, that too.
So you're already gonna have to. That's the way I look at it. If I can save on something is new, the price goes by how soon I'm playing it. Like I think I've touched on this a little bit before. If it's a game I've been waiting for, and I know I'm buying it, and as soon as I get home from the store, I'm playing it, I'm okay with and I know I'm going to get my money's worth. If I know I'm getting, like, in Canada, it's $80 for a new game now. If I know I'm bringing it home and getting $80 out of it, then I don't mind buying it. But that's got to be like an RPG, because a lot of shooter games, unless I'm hooked on the online, I'm not getting that money's worth. So I'm waiting until those are like $20 and cheaper, because they can wait. Speaking of shoot, but if it's something like Gears of War, I'm a huge Gears of War fan. I'll probably be buying that brand new, unless it's coming out close to like a Black Friday or a, Boxing Week sale. I know that that's probably going to end up on there because it's a big name game. I'm kind of getting used to being able to judge price trends on stuff. Like, oh, that game will be like, they'll go down in 3 months and it'll be like half price. So I'll just wait on it.
Yeah,
And
those big
I also go by
AAA
how much I
games.
have to play. Also plays a big factor into it. Like, I buy a lot less new games than you'd think. Even when I show you, like, I get a new game, but I'm like, I get deals. I don't know how I do it sometimes.
Right.
Very happy I do. I get a lot of games and they're only like a couple weeks old, and I'll get them for like a quarter of the price sometimes, and that's totally cool with buying new games. But
Yeah.
paying full price for games, which is what I know he means by new games, I don't do as often as I used to, for sure. Especially when I realize, like, I buy a game, if I wasn't playing it right away.
Yep.
When I do play it, I go to the store that I bought it at. Look, it's like half off now. Look, it's in the cheap bin now.
Yep.
Why didn't I just wait? And it's gotten to the same thing for me. If it's not like a special edition that I know is going to be going up, I'm probably not buying it right away. Like, it's got to be like, I have to have that game. It's a game that I've either been pumped for months, like Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm buying that the day it comes out, because that's a hype game. I loved that game. That was one of my top games last gen. Can't wait for it. And then there's games that I know are going to be probably harder to get a hold of a little bit, like the limited run games. We basically have to buy those right away.
Right.
But those are also not a full price game.
Right.
So that's that. Like, I go more by how worried I am about not being able to find it again. And that's also what's impacted me buying retro stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can pay the $200 that game's worth, or you could just wait it out a bit and keep your eye out and keep the hunt going, and maybe you'll just find that game. Right. And that's what I've done, and it's always benefited me. And then there's also times where, if it's just cheap already, you just grab it. But there's been tons of times though, like, all my PS1 RPGs have gotten way cheaper than they're supposed to be. So stuff like that, like Earthbound, paid $5 for it. Could have paid $200 and had it right away. Waited a bit, realized I can emulate it. That kept me from paying a ridiculous price.
Yeah, and
it's a little bit away from the new game. Obviously, Earthbound's not a new game, but that's my thoughts on buying games in general.
Yeah, and I'm actually kind of looking at nice thing about social media and sharing my pickups is I can quickly refer to those, but I'm looking through them, and besides some of these like limited editions, which most of them aren't full price. There was like the Wonder Boy Dragon's Trap collector's edition that I got from Limited Run. That was, I think that was like 65 or something.
55, something like that. Yeah.
It honestly looks like the last like brand new game, AAA game that I bought. Looks like it might have been Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah, and didn't you pre-order that and save on it too?
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna buy it new, know you want to buy it ahead of time to at least get your Amazon discount or some kind of bundle deal. Like, that's cool. That's how I'm buying games from now on. Especially now that I don't get my discounts at Walmart. It's way less, and like, as I've said, that's the only place in my area to buy games.
Yep.
It's either Walmart or online. Amazon's got it for me, and especially when our dollar is doing a bit better now, it works out to be cheaper in the long run altogether. As long as I'm not buying a huge amount and having to pay duty bringing it across the border, we're good.
Yeah. So I think, unless you have any final thoughts on that, essentially I think we pretty much agree, and I think essentially do the same thing. And I would think
don't buy new unless you gotta have it. Like, you have to have it now. If you can wait a bit, it's probably just going to be cheaper, especially considering online.
But then
stores mark things down a lot slower than
what about
online.
the detriment to the developers when everybody's just waiting and not buying their games new and not pre-ordering? They're taking that hit. Less sales. Studios getting shut down.
Oh, I gotta sound a little bit like Benny from Total Recall. I got 4 kids to feed, man. He said 5, but I've legit got 4 and a wife. I've got 5 other people to feed, man.
And 2 dogs.
Yeah, they don't need to eat. Games. Games.
So yeah, I think especially with us being collectors, we have to be very as fiscally responsible as we can. Just when we're buying video games all the time.
Yeah.
Saving a buck is nice. If I could support every single game developer that I enjoy a game for, I totally would. But
I'd love to, but it's not possible.
Nobody can buy every game the day it comes out. And play that and finish that game by the next time a new game comes out. Maybe maybe there are people that could do that. I can't play video games 16 to 20 hours a day.
Well, I mean, I need to earn the money to buy that. So
right. So I think
that's where my problems already come from. I do buy a lot of video games.
Yeah.
As my wife also reminds me that I bought a lot of video games. But she doesn't angrily remind me. She just goes, I don't care, you're making the money as long as we're paid. Our bills are paid, and we're eating, and kids have nice stuff, and
wife has nice stuff.
Wife gets nice stuff. Spoiled. The 5 seconds I get to myself, I can come down and play a game.
Yeah, for sure. So,
but,
with the question, I don't want to steal from Smash JT, but I'm gonna take that question and I'm gonna throw it out to all the listeners. I would really encourage you to go over to his channel and watch his video.
Watch all his videos. What are you doing?
Yeah, don't just watch one. Watch them all.
Watch every single one. Take a day off.
Leave a comment on his video. If you want, copy that comment and paste it on here. Let's I'd be interested to hear other people's thoughts. Are there different angles to this besides yes, I don't, or yes, I buy new games full price every time? No, I never buy games. What are the
there's also people who aren't game addicts like us that can be like, oh yeah, I buy games new all the time when I buy new games, and that's 3 times a year.
Right.
4 games a year.
Yeah. So
not everyone's like, oh, I buy 50 games a month and I pay full price for them all because screw you, I do what I want with my money.
So then I think we're getting closer to that goal of trying to get this podcast to an hour and 15, but
we're pretty close.
We're pretty close. But we're gonna go for a few more minutes here, and
let's just fade to black right now and cut mid-sentence.
We're gonna pull a Sopranos.
Yeah.
But so as we're wrapping things up here, what are your plans in the next couple weeks? Gonna do some gaming?
I'm due so much gaming. Everything's culminating in what I'm gonna do in the next 2 weeks. Honestly,
yeah.
I'm so excited to get going with this PC. I want to learn this PC. I want to learn the ropes with it. I'm gonna be obviously just doing some test capturing to figure out streamline how I could do it. I can get it to edit it, all that kind of fun stuff. But I do plan to heavily play games, and not just on the Switch. I want to play some friggin' PS4. I want to play some Xbox.
You're gonna beat
I want to get,
and you're gonna beat some Nier.
Yeah, I gotta. Or else I'm gonna get fired from this sweet job I'm not going to be able to be on the podcast anymore because I don't play games. Obviously, I'm going to be doing more video stuff, and to keep it short, that's what I'm going to be working on a lot of. I want to grow the channel this year, and when I get some more videos out, maybe I'll hit up that Smash JT bootcamp.
Yeah.
And have him tell me what I suck at.
Yeah, for sure.
He'll just be like, what? Okay, shorter list here. How about I give you a list where you don't suck at? I'll be like, thank you, sir. All right. Well, that's about it for me. What do you got going on?
So I think my big focus right now is really just trying to play more games. Of course, I want to do more with YouTube, but as I said, my 2018 goal this year was to play more games, but play more out of my backlog. So I'm trying to squeeze in some shorter things just to clear out some more of that backlog. I'm going to finish Iconoclast. I cannot talk. Iconoclasts. I'm going to wrap that up. Then I'm going to move
Hour
on
and 20
to...
minutes speaks otherwise about you not being able to talk.
After Iconoclasts, I'm going to play Wolfenstein 2. And then I think after that, probably Resident Evil 7.
Take a nap.
I think,
don't do it all in one sitting.
Right. Well,
Take a nap.
that'd be a perfect world. I can just play video games. But no, I'm a daily napper for anybody who doesn't know. I don't get enough sleep at night.
No, neither do I. But sometimes I get a nap. Sometimes, but rarely get to sleep in. I try to on Saturdays and I fail miserably.
I get cranky if I don't get a nap.
Oh, yes, sir. I can relate. I also get cranky when I don't get to game too, so double cranky is not good.
Yeah, but so besides some gaming, I got a couple more videos I'm gonna probably be putting out within the next week or two. There's a few things I want to do, and then kind of in relation to another group that I've talked about before, the Cartridge Club. I believe their game of the month for February is Odin Sphere, and I have been sitting on a review that I wrote about a year and some months ago of Odin Sphere, so maybe I will try to...
That's a while ago. It was kind of like when we first started hanging out and talking.
Yeah.
And it was one of the games that you were just finishing, I think, around that time. So that's been a while, but...
Yeah, so I'm going to look over that review because obviously if I wrote that a year and a half ago, that was when I was getting ridiculously long and detailed with my reviews. So maybe I can revise that and trim it down and
just put in the video, and then the write-up can be in the description. The description can be the write-up.
We'll see what happens. So I can't really promise too much.
You should take your You should just take your written out ones and put them on Game Facts for like the reviews. That'd be kind of cool.
Definitely could. I've thought about that to some extent, though. There's been many cases in reviews where I use the visual aspect as just,
It'd be kind of weird reading a written review and it's like, man, just look at this shit, and you're like, what shit? I'm reading.
Well,
it's not a comic book.
Specifically, it comes to mind was my Shantae Half Genie Hero review, where I'm like, look at Shantae and look at every piece of her moves, and I was like, look at this chain and look at this green dude.
Yeah, I totally remember that.
People were like, what the hell is this guy talking about?
You're trying to write it in like the little like characters on the keyboard. You're trying to like draw the things.
Hey, you'd be surprised what you can do with ASCII art.
Oh yeah, I would not. I've read a lot of stuff on Game Facts over the years. That's going back to my childhood there.
Well, I don't know if you remember I don't know what happened, unless it's maybe I just don't go to those places on like YouTube anymore. But when you used to go to like YouTube videos and the comment sections were just ASCII arts of like dicks and swastikas and stuff. I don't know why that doesn't happen anymore. Maybe those comments get flagged more, but people got pretty impressive.
You missed that? You missed swastika dicks? Caustikas?
The spooky skeleton, the too spooky
too spoopy for you?
Yeah. So I think it's gonna be a busy couple weeks for the both of us,
Perfect.
by the sounds of it. So yeah.
How can you get a hold of us, sir?
So if you are listening to this on SoundCloud, of course, you can look over to your right and all the links to our YouTubes, our Facebooks, my Twitter will be there. Of course, if you are on YouTube, just look in the description. I got all the links there. You can search for us.
Pal.
What's that?
It's all there.
It's all there.
Saw it.
Yes.
Just get it.
You can search us on YouTube, The Game Grinder, Corpse Flood Gaming. You can search us on Facebook. You can Google search us, and I'm sure you would find us if you really want to.
Do it.
Might as well. Might as well. If you've made it this far, you should look us
Might as
up.
well just Google me. I don't know. Maybe don't. All you'd see is my Facebook profile, maybe my MySpace from like 12 years ago. Something about my. There's a lot of Jason Gervais, so there's probably a.
Oh,
Have you ever looked up your name on Facebook and there's a whole bunch of other yous and you're like,
what?
I actually wanted to make a group of Jason Gervais and be like, what's up, guys?
You should totally. You should do that.
Start a revolution.
Yeah,
like because the only thing I've done of note that would be online would be like my world record. That'd be about it.
Yeah.
So,
that's one thing that I've always kind of joked that my name was very generic, but that's one thing I really appreciate in this online space is my name is so generic. It is so hard to find things about me because you know what? I'm sure there is very dumb things that I've posted online in the past, and I do not want to know what some of that stuff was. So hopefully it stays buried.
I'm gonna find your MySpace now.
I think it still exists, but when they shifted, they did some big site change, and they basically like if you weren't active, like that wiped your profile. So mine's gone.
Oh,
I used to have a very, very highly maintained MySpace page. Those were exciting days.
Well, you used to be able to like put music on it and backgrounds, and
Oh yeah,
you actually felt like you knew the person a bit when you went to this. I don't know how Facebook got more popular with its less things.
Yeah.
Everyone's just like, oh, people.
Feed feature.
I think you know what it was. Was all these bands? Check out my band. And you're like, no, bud.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
I really
used
don't
to get
want to.
barraged.
I see you like this band's page. You like my band. That's nothing like it.
Yeah.
You like
That's
Cannibal
true.
Corpse? You love my band, The Autumn Leaves. No, I probably won't. Get out of here.
Yeah, so before we go too much further off topic here, I think we can probably
Cut it off. We
fade to black.
fade it back.
But anyways, yeah, so as always, thanks everybody for listening. Hit us up and we will talk to you next time.
Catch you later.
Peace.